begin with you, Honorable Nyikal, and this is in relation to the recent incident that occurred in the Luo Nyanza region when one of your party members, that is Jimmy Wanjigi, visited the region and his convoy met some sort of altercation. Stones were thrown at him. And of course, as is expected, politicians viewed this and interpreted this in different ways. We have people who are saying this was doctored by some of the politicians within the party, as others also complain that this was done just to taint ODM's image. From where you're sitting from, does this in any way affect ODM's credibility as a political party that has long over time pegged itself on democracy?
Well, I think it was a single incident. Remember that he went to more than one place. He actually was in Kisumu. From Kisumu, he went to Homa Bay. Then from Homa Bay, he went to Migori. And as far as I know, and officially, the party was not involved in that.
Yeah.
And in the party's position, it shouldn't have happened. The party has condemned it. Our party chairman has condemned it. We have all said that shouldn't have happened. The people who did it are not known to the party. And what I've gathered, I wasn't there, is that actually they didn't go through the party structures. Okay. You can see that in Homa Bay, he was actually welcomed well, and he said he was received by the party. He even saw the party offices. That was okay. Kisumu was okay. So this isolated incident in Migori does not represent what the party stands for.
Okay.
So it doesn't, and we are not. It's not clear as to now who actually did it.
All right.
And you remember in Migori, there are some components in Migori that are not really all ODM. So we don't really take responsibility. We condemned it. It's a bad thing. It shouldn't have happened, and it's not the position of the party.
No problem, Michelle. Let me just give you time to put your phone on silent. I can see it's raining.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I thought it was on silent.
No worries. So, yeah, as we are continuing this conversation, just to confirm something with you, Honorable Nyikal, before we move away from that, you say that was an isolated incident and he didn't necessarily go through the party procedures. So what you're trying to say is that he went through the party procedures in different regions, but it was only for Migori that he didn't.
Yeah, what is this?
All right, the phone seems to be giving us an issue right here tonight.
Yeah, okay. I think just take it away.
All right, fine. Let's just, it will be taken away in good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that does not reflect the position of the party at all.
Okay.
Yeah. Why would the party, for example, have no problem with him in Kisumu, have no problem with him in Homa Bay, and suddenly Migori? So really what happened in Migori was an isolated incident. Yeah. The party is not part of it. The party was not involved. Whoever was there must have been acting solo. If it was organized, it was organized by people other than the party.
Okay.
Why would we look at it? What would be the rationale for it?
Right.
If he wants to vie in our primaries for the presidential position and he comes to our region, we will also go to the other regions. So if we start, why would we do it?
Fair
if
enough.
we start by actually harassing people who come to our region, we would be saying that we should be harassed when we go to other regions.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
so
Honorable, fair enough, Mheshimiwa. Let me just bring Honorable Dawood into this conversation, and just on the same breath as we're talking about democracy, but away from ODM politics, you're a leader from the Mount Kenya region, and we've seen recent meetings by a faction of leaders from that region. And just to look into the recent meeting where we had 6 leaders from the region come up with proposals that are meant to actually put Mount Kenya in a better position ahead of 2022. One of those proposals said that it is a must, it's a mandatory fact that the deputy president has to come from the Mount Kenya region if they're supposed to support a candidate. 2 questions. Are you of the same reasoning? And secondly, is this really democracy or pure self-interest?
First of all, thank you for hosting us. Mount Kenya, as it stands, it doesn't just have to have the deputy president's position. Yeah. He can always have even the president's position. So it should be not taken for granted that we as a region just want the deputy president's position. Yeah. But we are saying that is the minimum which we will take. Yeah. There has been talk that our region cannot have another president because we've had presidents all along. But you see, the question here is, if we have got somebody who can take the mantle, why not?
Yeah.
But with the kind of votes we command as the Mount Kenya region, I think it's only fair that we should get a shot at either one. And it's a matter of interests.
Yeah.
If our interests are satisfied with the deputy president's position, then why not?
Okay.
And anybody who is looking at being in the top position has to give us our due.
Okay.
That is what I say.
All right.
Because we have got the votes, and at the end of the day, it's people who will vote who will make you reach where you want to go.
Okay.
So we don't want to gamble with that.
All right. Well, Honorable Nika, let me just give you some few minutes to touch on this before we continue. They're using words as it's a must for them to have that as a bare minimum, even in the event that they're not going to put up a presidential candidate. As somebody who belongs to a party that has a key contender come 2022, how does this sit with you?
Well, I think we should look at the country general, and I won't go about it that way. I think if people are looking for fair representation, look for fair representation. Saying it must, it sounds to me like positioning oneself for a future bargain that is coming.
Yeah.
And I don't think if you go into any discussion or any bargain or any negotiation and you've come with a firm stand, you've actually killed the negotiation before it even starts. I think the best for people that should say is we're going to negotiate, we are going to present candidates, we would want even presidential, we would even want the deputy president, but you cannot go into a discussion, even national discussion,
yeah,
and say a must. Yeah. I take it as one putting themselves in a negotiation state, and I don't think it will work that way.
Okay.
I think it's better to leave it open, go to an open discussion, and see when you come to the table what are available, and then you can look at that. But if you say a must, then the negotiation is closed.
All right.
It can't go on.
Okay, fair enough. As we continue with this discussion,
I disagree. I disagree.
Yeah.
In the sense that whenever you are quoting somebody,
yeah,
you have to quote somebody. And if you're quoting somebody, you are telling them what's on the table.
yes,
Right? And when we are saying it's somebody whoever wants our votes has to take our person.
yeah,
Because Kenya being what it is, it's a matter of interest. And Dr. Nyekal cannot tell me that we will talk about it later. How are we going into a marriage without agreeing how we are going into a marriage?
okay,
So what am I going to get? I mean, it's a basis where we have to see what we are getting as the mountain.
okay.
And whoever presents a good proposal
That is
takes
really
the pride.
fair enough.
But
Well-
let me just ask.
Yes,
If you have many regions in Kenya,
yeah,
and we start, before we go into this national discussion, we start by each region saying, we want this deputy. The other region says, we must have a president. The other region says, we must have this. Where are we? In fact, the best way to look at this thing, what is the best structure that will actually be acceptable for the whole country, where everybody has a sense of belonging,
yeah,
that have been represented there? So I would, to say what you want, my problem is the wording.
Okay.
To say we are going for this position,
All right.
that's
All right.
okay.
Yeah.
But to say a must,
it's how it was phrased.
All right. That's
Okay, as we continue with this conversation, I just want for us to watch this short clip that will be guiding our conversation moving on. So let's just have the clip up. All right, as we continue, we just want to watch this clip by Honorable Onyonka. So I believe it's ready. Let's have a look at it.
How many members from the Kikuyu community has Raila supported? Jaramogi, his father, worked with Kibaki, with the Jomo Kenyatta. The issues which were at that time which now Hustler Nation is trying to pick. Those are the issues that made Jaramogi get punished, that has made Raila get punished, that made Mboya die. Those are the issues that Raila has been fighting for the last 50 years of this country. Then people dare tell me that Raila cannot walk in Central and people don't love him. They don't have to love Raila. Just know what he has done for this country.
Gentlemen, as you've seen right there, Honorable Onyonka was very passionate about that point that he was trying to put across. So, Honorable Onyonka, if you look at the situation in Mount Kenya, Raila Odinga has been making quite a number of trips down there just to woo the mountain, and he's even said he has a clearer vision moving forward. He knows how to climb the mountain. Tying it with what we were discussing before the video, moving into 2022, once Raila Odinga declares his candidature, is it a must for him to get a running mate from that region, or he can still stand a chance without a running mate from the Mount Kenya region?
You know, the word I want us to move all the time is a must, for the sake of this country.
Yeah.
Any discussion that starts with a must is violent in its nature, because it forestalls any meaningful discussion. It would be preferable, because looking at the number of votes, that is what really would be preferable. We would look for it as a party. We would woo them. We would talk to them. We would do whatever is required. If that position is the position that they require, that position will be discussed. But remember, you cannot go and say we want Mount Kenya to the exclusion of everybody. Of course, Mount Kenya is extremely important because of the number of votes. It's a vote-rich area, so it's an area to look at. And so far, as of now, we have not had a clear indication that somebody wants to be a presidential candidate. So all presidential candidates would look into that area. So it would be important for us. What Honorable Onyonka has said is again, the things that people will say, Raila cannot be sold in, it is impossible to sell Raila in Mount Kenya and so on. But remember that when Kibaki came in, Raila was welcomed in Central and called Njamba. I think that's the word they used.
Njamba,
he was welcomed. So politics change.
Okay.
Remember, he went as far as his father's time. His father was a hero when he said there is no independence without Kenyatta. And then, even with Kibaki, he said Kibaki Tosha in 2002, in 2005, 2007. So what I'm saying, people should not come that this must happen, this cannot happen. Anyway, the people who probably demonize Raila are perhaps, most of them are still there. If we get to talking, they can change what they make.
Great. Honorable Dawood, I think that video ended quite early. If you watch it to the very last bit of it, there's a statement or a remark that Honorable Onyonka makes that is sort of alluding to the fact that it's not a must, as in, why is Mount Kenya giving people this pressure? So when you're moving into 2022, is it a must? We come to the region, or we can do without the Mount Kenya region?
We are not giving anybody any pressure.
Yeah.
We are just stating the facts that as Mount Kenya, we have got the votes. Let any presidential candidate ignore Mount Kenya at their own peril. Because if we've got the votes, and Mount Kenya, let me put it here straight, it's not just Central Province or Kikuyus. It is Kikuyus, the Gema nation.
Yes.
And when we say that anybody who comes, let him tell us what he's going to do for us.
Okay.
And then we as a region, and not some self-centered leaders who will now lay it on the table. Of course, leaders will be there, but we have to take into account what our people need and where our interests lie. Okay. Not for selfish politicians, like what Mheshimiwa Nikal has just said, that Raila Odinga has been demonized, and I heard even my governor said that from 2013 they demonized Raila, 2017 they demonized Raila. So let Raila even come, let anybody. Mudavadi was there, by the way, yesterday and today. But unfortunately, Musalia Mudavadi came. He did not even invite any, he was not welcomed by any MP from Meru.
Okay, all right. Let's talk a bit about coalition politics. You are a member of parliament on a Jubilee party ticket, that is the ruling party, and we've seen what has been happening in Jubilee, the wrangles from the top leadership position to the efforts of the current leaders who are still allied to the party trying to salvage what is left of it, even as this possible merger talks between ODM and Jubilee are ongoing. What do you, or how do you answer to the critics who are saying Jubilee is as good as dead?
First of all, I have not heard of the coalition between Jubilee and ODM.
Okay.
It's just in the newspapers. We've never been called for a meeting to say that there is going to be a coalition between Jubilee and ODM. Because I know Jubilee was formed by breaking up my party, which was APK, the bus party, and other 12 parties. So until and when it is completely dead is when we'll say it is dead.
All right.
But up to now, I'm still in Jubilee, and hopefully, if Jubilee will not be dead by 2022, I will still be probably in Jubilee or any other party.
Honorable Nikal, as you pick up on this, he's said, I think just before you continue, he's said he's not aware of that possible coalition talks, and ODM leaders have constantly said that these talks are ongoing. So what is the case?
Well, first of all, let me say something he said that I liked. That anybody who comes to our region must tell us what they'll give to our region. They must listen to what our people want. Absolutely correct. If you go to any place, that is what you must do. So there I agree with Mheshimiwa absolutely. Let me get that point again.
The point on the coalition is refuted that there are no talks on that, while your leaders have said they're ongoing talks.
Okay, parties have structures. I know that there are discussions going on, but I'm not the one involved. So if I was to say that I have been taking part, I notice I would be wrong. But I know because I've heard from my leaders and I know their discussions. And all struck parties, when they're actually discussing issues, is not normally the larger party that it starts with discussion at very high levels that some of us may not be involved. I don't know Mr. Miwa's position in the party, whether he knows everything that the party leaders and all the party structures are saying minute by minute, hour by hour. So there could still be very important discussions going on that has not come to the level where all members of the party are aware. But as far as I know, it is going on. And you know what we know is happening in Jubilee. You know, there was this thing of Tanga side, Keleweke side. So we in ODM, we don't want Jubilee to die. In fact, if we could get the whole Jubilee together and discuss with them together,
it would be better.
That would be better.
Honorable Nikal, as we continue and just probably wind up on this issue in politics, the people who are allied to the ODM party and Raila Odinga, they've been making or saying things that actually show that whatever is happening, the feud between the head of state and the second in command is sort of a decoy. It's just to confuse Raila Odinga. And being somebody who's been in politics for a very long time, there's an aspect of the outgoing president's endorsement. How critical is it? Does Raila Odinga need this to put him at a better place so he can do without it, as he said in the past?
I don't think any support you get is important. And the more senior a person is who gives you the support in any structure, it is important. But you can't say without that structure will not go on. You cannot say that today, if President Uhuru does not endorse Raila, Raila will not be in the ballot paper. He will still be. But if we can get that support, I don't even like the word endorsement, because endorsement makes you sound like a project, which I don't think you would like. But the word support is a better word. And as a politician, you need it from all quarters. The senior the person, the more influential the person, the better.
All right. As we wind on this, let's have a look at this tweet by one of your colleagues in the bicameral house, just as we wind up on this conversation. Let's have a look at this. And this is from Senator Aaron Cheriot. He says, collectively, you can blame us as Parliament with regards to the fuel cost. But in actual sense, taxes are a preserve of the National Assembly, not Senate. To be more specific, the Finance Committee of National Assembly, the chair happens to be Gladys Wanga. her committee can save us? I ask this because this is something that's very close to the hearts of Kenyans, and you are from the National Assembly. Let me start with you, Honorable Dawood. How do you answer to that?
First of all, I was a member of the Finance Committee.
Yes.
And I remember at that time Gladys Wanga was not the chair. Our chair was Limo, Joseph Limo, the Member of Parliament for Kipkelion East. And we did question Treasury on the 8%. Initially it was even 16%, but we removed the whole 16% and it passed through Parliament. But when it went to the President, the Minister for Finance at that time, I don't remember whether it was Rotich or I think it was Rotich.
Okay.
And he asked the President not to approve what Parliament had passed.
All right.
So when people are blaming MPs for the rising cost of fuel, they're all lying, even the Senate.
All right. Well,
because
Dr. Nika,
we passed it
Yes.
at zero,
Yeah.
but it went and it came with a memorandum from the President that it should be 8%, and many members were not there to overturn, and we have never been able to overturn any memorandum from the President, because we need
Honorable
two-thirds.
Nika, just as you walk with me, as you wind down in just under 1 minute, your thoughts on this?
Goes back,
Who's to blame?
goes back all the way to 2013.
Yes.
When actually Parliament, but at that time NASA, opposed the tax increases very, very violently,
Yeah.
really. And then it came this time, and as he said, we actually opposed it. It went to the President. It came with a memorandum, and that memorandum was passed. How Parliament works is that if it comes from the President with a memorandum,
Yeah.
then obviously you must get more than two-thirds. And if you don't get that, and I don't remember any bill that has come with memorandum that has actually gone. So I think for that, Parliament will definitely take the blame,
yeah.
because we should be able, if we strongly feel it's that important, to raise the two-thirds, and that is all of us.
Okay.
Because as things stand now, if you look at the arrangements, the coalitions in the House, there's no single coalition that can pass a bill with two-thirds. So I'll say that as much as that happened, Parliament cannot completely run away from it, even with the structure of being unable to do the two-thirds. And my view is really, I think the chair of committee just chairs the committee, but the decision is all. And I think the way forward is either through the cabinet memo or through the committee itself. We have to relook at this. In life, sometimes decisions are made. Let me just finish it.
Yes.
In life, sometimes decisions are made that are found to be actually very deleterious.
Okay.
It is not important to keep saying who did it, who didn't do it. Go down, work on it, and
Fair
save the nation.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time.
But Treasury should not increase
I have to end this,
the
gentlemen,
excise
because
tax
of
at
time.
the end of the month. That's
Thank
what
you.
they can do.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your time this evening. As you've heard it from the gentleman right there, it's just an issue with Parliament, what is important to them as a whole, and that is why we are in this fuel mess. Let's take this short break and get back with some sports news.